Joining me now, Pastor Robert Jeffress. He's pastor at the First Baptist Church in Dallas, Texas, a Fox Business contributor, great American, good friend, and got a new book and a devotional, and I want to say thank you for the devotional. It's terrific. And my wife and I are deeply appreciative.
Thank you.
Let's start with immigration. The president's the president was treated roughly and badly by the Dems and the rhinos who met, and 6 of them who went in being open borders, amnesty, like-minded. I mean, they're trying to game the president of the United States. I mean, what an insult.
Well, that's right, and they're not going to succeed in this, Lou. Look, apart from the language, whatever it was, the president was 100% correct in his policy on merit-based immigration. You know, at our church, we welcome people of all races, all backgrounds, whether they have anything to contribute to our church or not. But America is not a church. It is a country that has the right and the responsibility to regulate who comes into this country based on what they have to offer the country. And thank God, Lou, we have a president in Donald Trump who realizes he has both a biblical and a constitutional responsibility to put the interest of America above the interest of any and every other country in the world.
America first. The first president to say it straight up.
Yes.
Exactly. The Trump doctrine. Though that is the primary value under which this president wants the country to operate. But you use, I think, very important language, talking about the right. There's a debate about whether we have the right to decide who enters this country and is put on the pathway to citizenship, when in fact it's the responsibility of our government to make that determination. It isn't a right, it's a responsibility, a duty, an obligation.
And just look at history, Lou. It's always been that way. There's never been unrestricted immigration to our country. It's always been regulated according to what's best for America. And there are just so many sincere Christians out there who are confused about that because they don't understand the difference between the responsibility of the church in showing mercy and inviting everybody and the responsibility that God's given government to protect our nation.
You know, all of the noise around what the president said, how he said it, whatever. You know, I'm old school. I believe that when you're talking to the president of the United States, what's being said is for him to release to the public, not for the person with whom he is speaking. And to see this offense on the part of the left, how in the world can they imagine that this president would put up with the insult and the just deplorable behavior of people who are not committed to the issues that are under negotiation? Otherwise, they would have been far more careful.
Well, that's right. But look, they're trying to stop him every way they can. They're not going to succeed. He hasn't even been there quite a year yet, and he has invigorated the economy. He's decimated ISIS. He is remaking the judiciary. They are not going to be able to stop him.
Reform taxes, cut regulation. I mean, the list goes on. And these Dems should be, they should take a knee out of respect to the president and say thank you.
That's right. And Lou, if they walk away from this DACA deal, because I know the president, he wants to solve this problem as well as secure the border. If they walk away, it shows that they are the hypocrites who we think they are anyway. They don't care one thing about the dreamers.
I'm pretty sure it's clearly established who they are and what they are. Pastor, always great to have you with us. Thanks so much.